Hey everyone, and welcome back to Travels and Tranquility. I'm Lauren.
I'm Devin.
We recently got back from our Alaska cruise. First ever cruise to Alaska.
It was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. Hopefully you've been enjoying all of our vlogs and stuff. We were on board Ovation of the Seas from June 30th through July 7th, just to give some context of time. We were on Ovation of the Seas, which is a great ship for Alaska.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, we absolutely loved it. It was a perfect ship. It was so fun. But the purpose of this video is to talk about kind of packing, really, for an Alaskan cruise, and just kind of things that we learned from our first Alaskan cruise that maybe you could benefit from. So things that we're glad that we brought with us, that we definitely used and needed and we're happy we brought, as well as some stuff that we ended up not needing and kind of just weighed down Devin's suitcase.
Yeah.
So just for context and as kind of like a disclaimer without it really being a disclaimer, because that's kind of silly. We're from Northern Nevada, so we are definitely accustomed to cooler temperatures.
Yes.
Our winters can definitely be quite chilly, so we're kind of used to and comfortable with colder temperatures. 50s and 60s are kind of pleasant,
great.
almost spring-like days for us based on just where we're from. So that definitely influenced our reaction to Alaskan weather. Because when we were there, it was in the 50s and 60s, cloudy, but also sunny. So we were naturally a bit more acclimated to that than somebody maybe from, say, like Florida or, even Georgia or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So take anything we say with a grain of salt, right? You know you best. You know your comforts best. Obviously, we definitely recommend that you look up typical Alaska weather for the time frame that you're going to be there and really think about the temperatures that you are accustomed to and that you're comfortable with, and then plan from there,
Right, because we see a lot of, I think we sort of touched on this in one of the videos, but we see a lot of people, like other cruise vloggers and stuff, that are like, this place was the coldest place I've ever been.
Right.
Paraphrasing.
They're from warmer temperatures, warmer climates.
It turns out they're from like Miami or Orlando.
So it's different, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's based on where you're from. You kind of get used to different temperatures. So
never seen snow before.
Right.
Places like that.
It's different.
Yeah. So just pay attention.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is what we were happy that we brought and what we were not so happy that we brought. But again, based on your own personal comforts and temperatures, it may be different. So let's go ahead and dive into the stuff that we're glad that we brought. Let's start positive, right?
Yes.
So I will say I'm glad that I brought a lot of light layers. On the thinner side of long sleeve tees, lighter jackets. This is just a jacket from Target that you've probably seen in a lot of travel videos because it's just a nice light jacket.
It's very good.
Long sleeve tees. I had some leggings that were really nice on occasion. Just that kind of stuff. I was really happy with those sort of items because it was easy to add on an extra little light layer. And not get too hot.
Yeah, and for me, I was just happy that I had a couple of light sweaters. I was fine in shorts the whole time.
Yeah.
Except in places where we knew there was going to be biting bugs and stuff. We did long pants for that.
Yeah. So light layers is definitely one of the first things that we were happy we brought. To kind of stem off of Devin's, shorts. Definitely needed shorts. For when you're on board, you're spending a lot of time inside. A lot of the venues are inside, they're, especially with a ship like Ovation, there's just so much indoor
enclosed areas,
spaces that you get to use. So having shorts was really nice because you still feel like you're on vacation, so shorts were definitely nice. I agree. I only brought one pair and I almost would maybe bring two. For a 7-night cruise, I kind of wish that I had another pair to kind of have some versatility. Along those lines, flip-flops.
They're a must for most vacations.
They are a must for most vacations, but I think, you know, when you're packing for a cold weather climate, you don't necessarily think about like flip-flops or kind of open sandals. But I was really happy that I had them. I wore them all over the ship, like constantly. Whenever we were on board, I was always in my flip-flops because those are just more comfortable to me.
Yeah.
I hate wearing socks and I hate wearing shoes. And honestly, I wish for some of the ports, like Victoria, Juneau, although maybe with the bugs, maybe not Juneau, I almost wish I had some like sport sandals, some like strappy kind of sandals, as I call them. Those would have been really nice to have, and I wish I had those.
Yeah, definitely.
You wore flip-flops a lot too?
I wore flip-flops all over the place.
Yeah.
Flip-flops, what was that?
Anybody's guess.
Yeah, so on the ship, I did wear them quite a bit. On Adventure of the Seas, I wore flip-flops on board the entire time.
Yeah.
And when we were leaving the theater at one point, I was stepping up as the ship.
You probably saw that in the video, huh? You probably talked about it.
Yeah, we had some choppy seas in the Gulf, and the ship rocked as I was stepping onto the step, and I clipped the step like on the end, like it was like a cartoon where it just kind of
Yeah.
And it actually caught my big toe, and it goofed up my nail, which hurt.
What was the point of this story?
Oh, yeah. The point. So I was a little more wary about flip-flops on the ship. But I did, for a lot of the days, I did have them on for at least part of the day.
Yeah. So you definitely need, like, even though you're going to Alaska, you still need clothes that are appropriate for a cruise ship. Which may seem like an obvious fact, but maybe not, you know?
might not think about that stuff when you hear that it's like, oh, it's Alaska. It's like the subarctic. There's ice and glaciers and stuff. But like, you're still in a temperature-controlled cruise ship.
Yeah, for sure. Another kind of group of items that we're glad we brought specifically for 2 of our excursions. If we had not done these 2 excursions, and I'm talking the Mushers Camp in Skagway and then the Zodiac tour on Sitka, we would not have needed these items and they would have been completely useless. If we were just hanging around in port, we would not have needed these items. Or even if we had done some non-water-based excursions, we wouldn't have needed these either.
Right. Because it's not winter. It's not that,
Right. It's still summer. And I'm talking about like waterproof pants. So these ones we got from Amazon before we went to Iceland. You probably,
you would have
seen them in Iceland and in our Alaska vlogs.
I don't think we talked about them though.
No, but they're really good. They're really good quality. They're from Amazon. They're just this outdoor sport brand. They're the Wet Tex. But these were really nice. So when we're on the little Zodiac boat in Sitka, this was great. As extra water protection when water would kind of splash up. I got splashed a couple of times, so this was nice to have.
Temperatures drop. Like for those of you who don't know, and it's something that I didn't consider as well, even when we went to Iceland, was that when you're on the mainland, temperatures are quite different than ocean surface temperatures. So it's quite a bit colder on the ocean away from land than it is on land. So these are, you might think that it's not necessary, but these are these would be very helpful.
And then in Skagway, we wore these against, not really because of the temperature factor or wetness, but like dog and dirtness.
Yeah.
So specifically like mud from the puppies.
Right, and they were good for that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Lauren got all snotted up.
Yep.
It was a mess.
Yeah, because I got all up in the dog's business. I was petting all of them and just giving them so many lovies. And so they were rubbing on my pants. And
the dogs were loving it.
They were slobbering all over it. And so this was nice to have like some waterproof pants so I didn't have to feel the slobber coming through my pants like I would have if I had worn jeans. And then when I got back on the ship, I could take these off and not have to wear them for the rest of the day or the rest of the cruise.
They have like a little textured bit. I'm not sure if y'all can see that on the camera, but there was one dog in particular that found this and really was
he was like itching his face on it. It was really cute. And along those lines, Weatherproof shoes are definitely a must.
Yes.
These are probably a little extra and a little extreme for the purposes of Alaska. I just didn't want to buy new shoes because I had bought shoes for Iceland. They didn't fit, so I didn't keep those. I was like, I'm not buying another pair of shoes that I don't know if they'll fit for Alaska.
Well, because they were sold as waterproof, but then her feet got completely soaked at Glyffer Butte.
Plus they didn't fit. So.
And yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah, so these are technically like snow shoes. They're snow boots. But they worked great. I mean, I didn't feel water or dirt or anything at any point. Devin had more like normal waterproof kind of hiking shoes.
I have waterproof hiking boots, which are great. We've only used them a couple of times at this point. But, so I still got to break them in a little bit. They pinch at the toes.
Yeah.
But they're better than the shoes that poor Lauren had to deal with in Iceland, and not as extreme as those.
Yes. And again, those really were only needed on the excursions. If we had not done those excursions, those would have been completely unnecessary. Yeah. And then I brought these because I really do like them. These are like really thick trail socks that I like to wear in my waterproof shoes because they keep your feet nice and toasty, obviously, but they're really good like cushioning against those kind of shoes, which are a little bit, I feel like rougher, they're like thicker and they're a little bit harder. So these kind of cushion your feet and keep them nice and toasty.
They pinch a little bit too, I'm sure. Because you've only worn those shoes a couple of times, like when I shovel snow.
Which lasts like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So we were really glad that we brought that stuff. And again, we knew we were bringing it just for those 2 specific excursions. And they worked and they were perfect. And I was really glad. On the Zodiac boat, they say you don't often get wet on those, but I got splashed a couple of times on my pants. And there was I was in the back of the little rib boat.
When it took off, it did that and water started shooting up. It was weird.
Well, and it pooled in the back of the boat. Yeah. So I was not standing, I was sitting and my feet were in an inch of water for a long period of time.
Especially
so it was nice.
Back, weirdly enough.
It was nice that I didn't feel any of that because of the shoes that I brought. So I highly recommend those if you're doing outdoor kind of excursions like that. Otherwise, I don't think we needed them or you would need them.
Yeah.
One last thing that I want to say for an item that we're glad that we brought, specifically me, because Devin didn't have one of these, but it's a little sleep mask, a little eye mask. So on cruise ships, they do have curtains, and they're kind of blackout curtains, but they're not
nice-ish.
Yeah, but they're not perfect. And if you don't know, Alaska during the summer, a lot of really northern subarctic places, it kind of participates in the midnight sun. So the sun wasn't going down at midnight. It wasn't a full 24 hours of sun because it was after the solstice. It was lessening. But the sun was going down at 10:30 or 11. And if you're somebody who is already really sensitive to sleep, like I am, and sensitive to light while you're sleeping and needs darkness to sleep, this was really beneficial. I started putting it on, I think probably by the time we got to Sitka.
Yeah, it was night 2 or something like that.
Yeah, so I used it for kind of most of the nights that we were in the northern part.
I thought you used it every night.
I probably did, but it probably wasn't necessary every single night. But I'm really glad that I have it. I used this same one in Iceland. It was perfect for Iceland too, because same kind of thing. We went in the summer and it's sunny all the flipping time.
So, where Alaska's pretty close laterally to Iceland, but it's still a little farther. Iceland's a little farther north, and so I don't think we had any darkness in Iceland. It was all just twilight. That was the best it got.
Yeah, it was never pitch black.
It was weird.
It is weird. So if you're not used to that and you need help sleeping, I highly recommend one of these. Yeah. This is just one from Amazon. Again, I like it because it has a nose piece, so it helps keep the nose piece tight on your face. Helps keep the mask tight on your face.
Yeah.
So I like that.
It helps with the sunlight peeking through.
Right, and going right into your eye.
Yeah. That'd be
so annoying.
Waste of a sleep mask.
For sure. All right, let's go ahead and move into the items that we ended up not needing. And that's not to say that you wouldn't need them on an Alaska cruise. We were very lucky with the weather that we got in Alaska. Yeah. We had no rain, and oftentimes it was pretty sunny, and it was in like the mid 60s.
Right, I think
it's pretty good.
I think there was even one day, I think like maybe our Skagway day, it was close to 70.
Yeah. And Victoria was pretty hot too.
Poor Canada, it's having some weather issues. It's hot up there right now.
So one of those items were ponchos. We didn't think we'd need these, but we wanted to bring them just to have, but that was a waste of space for sure. Was bringing like these clear plastic ponchos that you would use at like a theme park or something like that.
Luckily they're tiny though, so. True,
that didn't take up too much space. But what did was taking big, basically like snow level jackets, like this one of Devin's, which is honestly probably like a snowboarding jacket.
It's big.
Yeah, it's really big. It's really thick. It is a nice jacket.
Had it for years. I love it.
Yeah, got it from Costco, but completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
In Alaska.
Lauren had a big poofy rain slick jacket too. So completely weatherproof jacket, and so I mean, we didn't.
Wasn't needed at all. Just took up a lot of space. These kinds of jackets take up a ton of space, and that's why I think having more like the light layer kind of stuff would be better, because this takes up, I mean, look at how much like less space this takes up.
Oh yeah.
Than Devin's giant jacket. I think having more stuff like this is better.
I agree.
And then last but not least, the other thing that we didn't really end up needing were like big sun hats. We brought these. I don't know why. Maybe we thought we were going to be sitting on the top deck, the pool deck, more than we did. But they weren't necessary. I think they could have been necessary. I don't know. Maybe we could have used them in Victoria, but honestly, no, not really. Sunglasses, great thing to bring.
Right.
Because there's a lot of glare. There's still sun, but not necessary. We did get way more use out of our like beanies and Devin's Viking hat from Iceland. We got way more use out of these than anything.
And my fancy hat.
Yeah, Devin's hat that we would wear for like dinner and stuff. And so these lights you can maybe bring, but you don't need a sun hat. That was silly of us to pack.
And all told, frustratingly enough, all of the stuff we didn't use ended up getting packed in one of my smaller suitcases, and so we wouldn't have even needed that smaller suitcase.
Yeah, it's an entire suitcase of stuff that we probably didn't need.
Yep.
But live and learn, right? That was our first Alaska cruise. Yeah. Hopefully, though, we've helped save you some packing space for all of those great souvenirs instead. If you've taken an Alaskan cruise, let us know in the comments down below what was something that you were glad that you brought, or something that you wish you had brought, or something that you didn't end up needing. Do you agree or disagree with anything that we've said? I mean, I'm always happy to have a conversation.
Are we too, I don't know, flippant with the weather? Like, I don't know, should we be prepared for?
Yeah, like we even had umbrellas, never used them. I know rain is more common, but I mean, we just got really lucky, I guess. We didn't need any of that. That's more stuff that we could have left at home.
That was great.
So, goes to show.
Next time we're going to get rained out.
Yeah, probably. The next time we take an Alaskan cruise, we'll bring like 5 pairs of shorts and we'll wear lots of flip-flops, and then we'll be freezing. Oh, another thing that I meant to say that I'm glad that we brought, it's technically not clothing, bug bite cream.
Oh yeah, like itch cream, like a Benadryl cream.
Because Devin should have worn bug spray.
Which is crazy because like I had long sleeves on the whole time, but like my left arm, the camera arm, I don't know if it was the angle of the camera being holding it, or I don't know what happened.
Well, they got in your sleeve.
But they got in my sleeve, only on this arm, my left arm. And I got bit like 8 times. It was really stupid.
But it was nice to have the itch cream, because when we were on Adventure of the Seas and we got bit by mosquitoes, we didn't have it, and we wished we had. So just another thing to think about. bug spray and stuff like that, especially if you're going to do any nature-y kind of things or hiking or anything like that.
Yeah, Alaska has mosquitoes, so don't think you're out of the woods with that.
True.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks so much for watching. We appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. We'd appreciate that. And we will catch you guys in our next video. Bye, you guys.